All right, guys, so back with Acme Bullet Company. So today's gonna be a little bit longer video. We're gonna be doing some load development on the 45 ACP with our coated bullet. This is the 200 grain semi-wad cutter bullet. So on our first step, we're going to take some brand new Starline brass here, and we're gonna get some hand priming done. So we're gonna start that and get enough pieces we need done, and then we'll move on to the next stage when we're done with that. All right, guys, so now that we're done priming that brass, we're going to come over to this press here that we have set up. This is going to be for the belling. So we're going to bell the mouth of the case out a little bit, so that way the lead, when the bullet is seated into there, it won't scrape up the lead as it's getting seated in there. So we're going to take that and we're going to start running through these, and we'll do this stage first, and then we'll move on to the next one. If you look closely, you can see there's a little bell in there. Just grab an extra one that is not done yet. So just that little bit of bell on this one here allows that bullet to be seated properly. All right, so the next station is our powder drop and our bullet seed. So this is going to be kind of in the same one. So today we're going to use the RCBS Charge Master Supreme to trick load our powder. This thing's great, highly recommend them. So the first thing we're going to be starting out with is 5.4 grains of Winchester 231. So I'm going to take that. We already have our first charge here, and drop it in the case. And the nice thing about the Charge Master Supreme is it will automatically start dispensing on the next as soon as I put the pan back on the tray. So we'll take our bullet. That's again our 45 ACP 200 grain semi-wad cutter, and seat that in there. And that is there. Now the bullet is seated. Just like that. I'll move through these. Next drop is ready. And we'll run through these for a little bit. And with 5.4 grains of 231 powder, we should be floating right around 769 feet per second, it says. And also at 12,000, just over 12,000 PSI. For pressure. So it's a good starting area for these, and we will step load this. We're going to do a 5.4, 5.7, and a 6.0 grains of powder. Then we're going to obviously take those range and see how they shoot. All right, so we're on to our last step now. So we have our bullets that's seated into our brass with our powder and our primer in it. And since we are shooting this out of a semi-auto pistol, we're going to do a taper crimp on this. So this is what this press is set up here for. This step is pretty simple. Set it in there, and then once you're done with that, we're actually going to take the barrel from the pistol we're going to be shooting it in, and we're going to do something called a plunk test. So we're going to drop it into that chamber and make sure that it sits in there nice and flush. As you can see here, it does. So we are good to go. And right there would be a completed round. So now we're going to continue this process, and we'll get these loaded up, and we're going to take them out to the range. Mitch is going to help me out. We're going to kind of crack through this and get it all done and roll them out to the range. See you guys after then. We're on our last 10 rounds here, and right now we are on CFE pistol, so we're on our last step load. So what our powder, we're going to change our powder drop down to up to 7.5 grains. So we'll just come here on these, super simple, press go, type in 7.5, press go. We're going to let those dispense. So we run 2, so that way we're not ever waiting on powder to be dispensed. It's really nice to have. And then the other thing I forgot to mention is seating and crimping in 2 different dies. And the reason why we want to do that is if we seat and crimp in the same die, as the bullet gets put, as the casing gets pushed into the die, it will push the case walls into the bullet and it will scrape the lead. So we want to make sure we're doing that in 2 different stations, our seating and our crimping. So looks like we're good to go on powder here, and we're gonna go through and do these last 10 with some 7.5 grains of CFE pistol. So our first setup, we have some Winchester 231, and we have 5.4 grains, 5.7, and 6 grains of powder. And then our next ones, we have Accurate number 5, and we have 7 grains here, 7.5 grains here, and 8 grains here. And then our last one is our CFE pistol. That's what we just finished uploading. And that's going to be 6.8 grains, 7.1, and 7.5. So we have 10 rounds of each step. So we're going to go and take them out to the range and give them a shot and see what they come to out there. All right, guys, so we're back on the range now. So we're going to take that load and we're going to shoot it. So we are shooting over a Garmin Chronograph today, and Mitch and I is going to both shoot. He's going to shoot 5 rounds. I'm going to shoot 5 rounds. We're shooting that 200 gram semi-wad cutter out of a 45 ACP. We're gonna do a time-lapse video of us just shooting all these rounds so we can get that done. Then we'll take all that data back in, we'll go inside and review it all with you guys. All right, guys, so we're back from the range. First thing I want to say is that Mitch and I are not pro pistol shooters by any means, so take this with a little bit of grain of salt when it comes to the group sizes. But actually, Mitch and I did have a little bit of a side bet going on for who was the best shooter, and it was for a 1 ounce round of silver. So turns out, it looks like Mitch is a little bit better of a shot than I am, at least with this stuff. So let's get into the powder here and the kind of the nitty gritty about it. So the first thing I want to talk about is Winchester 231. I'm going to put a chart up right here. I kind of broke it all down for you guys with all of our velocities, our group sizes, and our standard deviations. So the first thing on this powder, this was probably our second favorite of what we liked It was a good for speed, a little bit on the slower side. When we got to like the 6 grains of powder, you can see that we started to climb into the high 900 feet per second, which is comfortable still to shoot. The lower side was nice, and you can see like our group sizes were a little bit smaller with the lighter loads, which is probably going to be expected. And then the second powder we're going to talk about is an Accurate number 5. Now this was our number 1 powder. We liked this powder a lot. Granted, it is the slowest powder that we shot. So we had started with 7 grains, 7.5, and then 8 grains of powder. On our highest load, we were just climbing over. I guess we were into like the mid to high 800s for feet per second. We had the best group sizes with that. It was the softest shooting. I liked it way more than the other 2 powders that we did, which was CFE pistol and the Winchester 231. It felt more comfortable to shoot. I liked it way better. So like we were floating around on the bottom side, 700, mid 700s, high 700s for feet per second. And then on our, like I said, on our 8 grains of powder, we were into the high 8s. And then our last powder, which to me was my least favorite one, that was CFE pistol. So we started with 6.8, went to 7.1, and then we finished at 7.5 grains. And this was our biggest group sizes. I didn't love it. It was snappy. It wasn't the best thing to shoot, but that's part of the game here, is figuring it all out. You got to try the all sorts of different stuff. You got to try the low stuff and the high stuff. So we started out at about the high side of 800 feet per second, creeping into the 900s, and we finished at over 1,000 feet per second, I would say, on average for our velocities at that 7.5 grains of CFE pistol. It looks like we were floating at just about 1,000 feet per second, maybe a little bit more than that even sometimes. So if you're looking for something with speed, CFE pistol could be the option for you. But if you're looking for something for softness and being able to shoot it a lot and comfortable, that Accurate number 5 seemed like that was the ticket for us. Like I said, granted, obviously doesn't have a lot of speed with that, so that's something you had to put in consideration. Like I'll show you the target from our Accurate. So these were our group sizes from the Accurate number 5 powder with that Acme 200 grain semi-wad cutter bullet, 45 ACP, that's sized to a 4.52. We were shooting out of a Thesis 1911. I know it's not the cream of the crop for pistols, it's just what we had on hand that day. But yeah, so we wanted to be able to do this longer video for you guys, put it all together with kind of more in-depth load data. I know you guys were looking for something like that, so hopefully this is going to scratch that itch for you guys, and we can keep coming up with these. They're fun to do. We like doing our own testing and stuff like that too as well. So we'll see you guys later, and we really appreciate you watching the video.